Why doesn't Dallas Keuchel have a job right now? How is that possible?
Well, one, I don't know what offers he's had. So he's had offers. It may not be. So number one, it may not be what he thinks he's worth or where he thinks the market's at. It's not like he hasn't had an offer. So I don't know what that is. Secondly, it may not be what he wants. Obviously, hasn't got what he wants offered to him.
I guess then why would Dallas Keuchel not get an offer that you as a former player would understand that he would take?
Well, I think what we're seeing is, you asked me earlier, how accurate are the numbers? And a lot of front offices believe the numbers are 100%. So if you're watching the trends in baseball over the last 2 or 3 years, if you're 31 or 32, they're basically saying, now you're dropping off. I'm not paying for the rest of those years. I pay for your prime years. That's why you're seeing Trout, Harper, Machado, those guys get long extended contracts because they want to pay for those prime years.
So pitchers are being viewed like running backs in football right now once you hit 30, or players just
in general.
Really?
That's really, if you look at the crux of it, look at Adam Jones. Adam Jones, 33 years old. You'd think he's 40 the way we acted this winter. And he's still a very productive player, but he's not going to have those prime years ahead of him. So here's where you're at. And I think it's a combination of things. There are a lot of players in the big leagues that shouldn't be. They shouldn't be there. And they've paid for mediocrity for a long period of time. So because there's guys that shouldn't be there and some contracts that haven't worked, everybody pays for that. So now they've mainstreamed it to, we know these are the prime years of a player. I'll gladly pay. I'll overpay for those. But if you're before or after, they're not paying for that.
Why are players that don't belong in the league, why are they in the league? Because they're Rule 5 or something like that? Or they have
not even Rule 5. It's to me, it's how the lineups or a roster's constructed. If you can take, for the Cubs, for example, or the Milwaukee Brewers, and put Moustakas or Bodie at second base, why do I need to carry that little second baseman that can have some range? I can put my third baseman at second and put him in right field in a shift. That's why I've become an advocate against the shift. There's no athleticism anymore, and we're cutting the little guy out. If there's my frustration being the little guy that played.
Yes.
And the great thing about baseball, we've always said size doesn't matter. But now we're talking about exit velocity and all these different things. If you don't hit a ball over a 95-mile-an-hour exit velocity, you're not considered a very good player. Well, how can that be? If I drop down a base hit and steal second and third, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But those don't compute.
The
science of figuring it all out.
Seinfeld's line when we interviewed him about the beauty of baseball, he says it's the democracy of talent and physique that you can have.
Yeah, I like that.
You can have. It's what he said. It doesn't matter if you're 5'6", if you're Altuve or Judge.
Yeah.
Those were the two MVP candidates, obviously. Altuve won it a couple of years ago. But that's the beauty of baseball. It's a democracy of talent and physique.
Yeah.
And you're saying right now, though, that the metrics are messing with that.
The metrics are screwing that around a little bit, yes. But I will say this.
Yes.
The game is in a good spot. We got a ton of young talent. I mean, all that said,
yes,
I think there's a couple things that need to be tweaked. The biggest conversations we've been having that are negative are about the shift, how to adjust to that.
Yes.
Pace of play we talked about, and the pitch clock. Every player that I talk to has a different view on it. But if you look at minor league baseball, they have the pitch clock in now, and guys are used to it. So those kids are getting called up in the big leagues, and they're looking around for a pitch clock. It's not there anymore. So I think with some things that can be tweaked.
Yes.
And throughout history of all the sports, where it was basketball, they put in a three-point line. If it was football, they continue to change their rules because you want scoring, you want action, and so that's what we got to get back to.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.